How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about BBIG, which was down 2.79% on the day. As far as for the technicals, we're seeing a clear pattern that is happening. I'll talk about it in this video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in a bearish case scenario and as well as in a bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for BBIG. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $2.09, being down 2.79%. On the low, it tested $2.01, and then on the high, testing $2.14. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 11.589 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 10.746 million shares. So we had above average volume on the day, and it's part of the reasons why we've seen a slight pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it's at 42.36. And then when we take a look at our moving averages on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. So it's clear to see that BBIG is in a bear market, trading below all of our major moving averages. So you can see that we had a recent run up, and of course we saw resistance at the 21-day EMA. That's why I always bring up this moving average to you guys. I hope you're keeping it on your chart. And where we're holding support is right at $2.01. So we want to see this area continue to hold. If it does not hold, then it will pull back into the mid $1.90 range like it's done in the past, and that's where we really want support to be kicking in, because if we have support coming in, then we can see that move back to the $2 level. But we want to see BBIG being able to get above $2.15 for tomorrow or even for this week, since it did see a high at $2.14. And if it could retest that 21-day EMA, that would definitely be the best case scenario, because then we want to see that momentum continue and see if we can get to the 50-day moving average at $2.46. So now you know what it looks like to the upside, but as far as the downside is concerned, and like I was saying, if it does pull back to 193, we want to see those bulls start stepping in. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for BBIG. Scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So we don't see anything new except some changes here from Nationwide Mutual Funds, and they reduced their position, or we have a value change of 75% and a share change, as you can see, negative 41.37%, and their share total seems to be at 785. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 54.10%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 2.95 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 40,000, updated just now, and then for the short ball fee rate, it is at 87.05. Remember, it was much higher in the past. It has gone down significantly. You could even see for the start of the day, it was at 139%. But moving on, as we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 17th, it was at 45.80. And then for the close of the 21st, being at 54.10. So that is a significant increase right there. And then taking a look at the short interest percentage of the float, being at 18.87%, BBIG does continue to have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for BBIG. So we see on the inflow, it's at 5.60 million, and then on the outflow, it's at 3. 0.91 million. So we had an inflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large it was 1.93 million, on the medium it was 2.82 million, and then on the small it was 0.85 million. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large it was 1.13 million, on the medium it was 2.04 million, and then on the small it was 0.74 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for June the 22nd we had an inflow of 0.8 million, and also for the 21st we had an outflow of 0.09 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, you can see that we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And then for the large, it represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 4.98%. And this is not too bad for a volatile stock like BBIG. And like I was saying in my previous video, since it is having an inclusion into the Russell, we can see big money that is buying in, and it did gain some momentum, and now it's starting to slow down. I'll talk about it further inside of the final thoughts, so let's get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for BBIG when it comes to the price action, so we saw a high of the day at $2.14, and we saw a low of the day at $2.01. We have the 21-day EMA, which is at $2.22. So what does all of this mean? The price action overall on the day was below the 21-day EMA, which is not what you want to see. This is a bearish sign. But we also can't forget the fact, if it does decide to break through $2.01 and break through $2 on the dot, we know that support does tend to come in around $1.93 or in the mid $1.90 range. So this is where we want to see the buyers coming in to buy up this stock to push it up even further back above $2. This has happened many times over and over again in the past, and it looks like it could play itself back out all over again. But I'm not guaranteeing this, but I'm just telling you guys what I see from the chart. So for BBIG to start looking bullish, we need that price action above the 21-day EMA, and then we could see what it does if it can make a move to the 50-day moving average, which I think was around the mid $2.40 range. So add that to your homework, to the upside and as well as for the downside. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, all we saw were some changes, no new positions whatsoever. And then when we took a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. But also remember that the short borrow fee has gone down drastically. In my previous video, I think it was around 240%, and now it's right under 100%. So that is a big difference, and what this does show us, it looks like shorts have been covering, especially as the stock pulled back. So we want to see momentum. The 21-day EMA was recent resistance for BBIG when it was going on a brief run. So if we can have another retest and break above it, that's where things start looking good for the stock. We also have to take into consideration the catalyst. A lot of excitement in regards to them being included into the Russell 3000. I also talked about this in prior videos as well. I was talking about many institutions that follow the Russell are going to want to load up on shares. We saw this happen with Lucid. We also saw this happen with Mullen. We saw this happen with BBIG. So I just want to make sure that you're in the loop and you know what's going on. But what is really funny though is that when I told you guys about this, it was moving up a bit, but it moved up quite more when the media started putting out more news in regards to them being added. So that just shows you right away, the fact that they just actually pushing it out right now today and the stock has pulled back, that's just another way to get into your minds and get you saying, well, you know what, let me start buying up a ton more shares and see where the stock could go. No, instead, you have a strategy. You look at the chart or you watch my videos. It is not financial advice, but I want you to add it to your homework alongside with your due diligence and then come up with the game plan that is right for you. You just don't want to buy in blindly just because you heard it on some news outlet or maybe some YouTuber was telling you, hey, it's going to go to the moon. You do not want to be left behind. You're missing out on the biggest opportunity of your life. You guys already know what I'm talking about. On this channel, we don't do that. that. I come here with a non-biased approach and I remain neutral. And the reason why I do that is because I'm a trader. This is what I do full time. I cannot be biased in one direction. I got to make sure there's an opportunity to the upside as well as for the downside and see how I could take advantage of it. And depending on when I get into that play, what it looks like, I'll take advantage and I will follow the trend. That's just the way this thing goes, especially if you're looking to be a trader. If you are an investor, then you can ignore everything that I just said. You believe in the long-term prospects of the company, you see a lot of upside, so you're going to continue to add to your position on dips so you can actually maximize your ROI in the end. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.